another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. Today is a special day because I'm actually in the middle of moving, so there's going to be new facilities that we're going to be working out of pretty soon. So we'll have a 2-car garage and take it from there. So basically this episode is going to be a little different. We're going to take the cars for a test drive, talk about the pros and cons of the cars currently, and touch base on what we're going to fix now that we do have a garage. So let's get to it. All right, so first car we're going to dive into is this one. We're gonna briefly go over what's been done and the plans for it, basically. So this is my 2001 Mitsubishi Mirage. We have done coilovers, we've done rims, we've done tires, we've done this door trim here, which is actually from a Mitsubishi Montero Sport. I think it's like 2001, actually 99 to 2002. And we've done some trim painting, which, living in an apartment complex, people kind of mistreat your car, but no worries, we will go over that. It's not broken. And we have the lip kit done. We got the, well, except the front, but we got the rear lip, we got the tail lights done, headlights done, lower control arm, which I'm gonna clean that, and we've also done the steering wheel. We've also done the gauges. We've also done the painting of the grille, the headlights, and under the hood, done the battery terminal where you can see the suspension. We've done the air conditioning in this one. And everything else is left stock on purpose because no point in hooking up this factory motor if it's not boosted. So, you know, that's that. Now, future plans. Definitely gotta get rid of the automatic. I want to look for some new carpet because this one is very nasty. And I do have the third pedal in here, which we went over that and everything. So we just are going to continue off of that and finish out the swap. I do want some racing seats. These seats, actually traded them out from the original ones, which were like this grayish blue color. So you know, I want to get some racing seats in here. I want to reupholster this area because that's actually it's supposed to have fabric like this on it, but the previous owner removed all of it on every single door, so all of it is bare. So I'm going to be redoing that, you know, in the later episodes. And next, let's take this thing for a test drive and give some thoughts of the power she's got, which is originally rated at 119. But I'd say what mileage on it is every bit of 100 horsepower, no change, maybe even less. So, I got this car for $100, as you guys know, I do hate is the automatic thing. Like, I'd say that's one of the things that hinder me from driving this car as much, is because the automatic. But the reason I held out on that is because I'm going to be moving in about 4 days. So, I'm excited about that. We're going from an apartment complex to a house with a 2-car garage for rent, which is perfect. Gives me time to look for, more of a permanent solution. Who knows, if the cards are played right, might get a house built from the ground up. But until then, this car is a very good daily driver due to the fact that it has air conditioning, 1. And 2, it's got the power windows, power locks, music, not bad car. But, going into the future plans, this one is definitely going to be turbocharged, thus hinting the spare motor we have. So we're gonna basically get that motor prepped, built, and ready, and we're not gonna put that engine in until we have the engine management, until we have the exhaust manifold, the turbo, and possibly an intake manifold. I still haven't done anything about those items yet, but it's definitely coming in the future. Also, I have to change the fuel leveling sensor. If you look there, it's showing it's on E, but just like every other car, it does have a gas light, which is not on. So yeah, so that's that. This car will be ready for some action. So we're gonna take this sucker home, and we're going to hop into the next car. Our next car, the silver Starion. Now, I definitely want to address this lip. That and paint, of course, but let's get to what has been done, because there were some questions about the engine specification a long time ago. I didn't give enough info, so I'm gonna square that up now. And before we do, let's take a look at the car and we'll take it from there. So I have HID headlights and fog lights. The car is lowered on Legion Elite Motorsport suspension. I have the big brake kit, which is the 300ZX caliper, 300ZX rotor, S14 spindle, and I got an 1.25" spacer. And you see the wheel gap is still far, and that's because the S14 spindle sits further in than factory Starion. So that's done. Paint definitely needs to get done. And then I got my sticker there. I need to get more of those made so I can send it out to you guys. I replaced the LED bulbs in here to some brighter ones, so those are in. I got full 3-inch exhaust, and I know you can't see it, but this used to be carbon fiber in here, but the clear coat's kind of crappy. It's cool. I'll get another one. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. The computer that it's using is right over here. And don't mind these wires, I just did that recently for the other car. But anyway, that's the brains that runs the engine. So the original computer is not there anymore. And these are my gauges, which I'm gonna end up showing you guys how to do this in the upcoming episode, which is very simple, but I still need to show you guys how. Also, these gauges, mile an hour, all of that other stuff, I'm gonna be putting these up for sale no time soon, but and you know, that's because I don't have the replacement gauges, but I'm basically gonna go with all aftermarket gauges because I think it's, you know, a better look, much cleaner, new technology, more accurate, so on and so forth. My speedometer doesn't work because the cable, which goes to the transmission, popped, and I do have another cable, you know, to get it running and everything, which I'm gonna show you guys how to do that too on another episode. I got Legion Elite Motorsports short shifter. I got innovative wideband radio that reads horsepower, which I'll show you guys that a little bit later too. It's not accurate anymore because the radio's so old, but it's still interesting that it has it on there. It has a G meter in it, which, you know, is probably old and crusty now, but you know, it's still interesting it has it. I definitely need to find somebody to reupholster both seats. I'm not even going to show you the driver's seat because it did get worse. So let's jump under the hood and let me show you what that's about, and then we'll take this one for a test drive. Okay, so of course it's a wiring nightmare. This car was you know, done kind of a test phase to see if it works, and it's just been left there ever since. So we're going to redo everything. So at some point, there's motors coming out, transmissions coming out, everything's going to be clean and redone, everything. So obviously I didn't do that yet because, you know, living in an apartment complex, they see you yanking out a motor, they're going to tow your stuff. So anyway, thus hinting the move to the house. Super excited. But anyway, so let's see. Let's start from this side and then work our way over there. Okay. And this is if I can remember everything. Okay. First off, my AC is still connected. I got 3-inch intercooler piping, Mustang throttle body, Mitsubishi Magna intake manifold that's been completely modified. And if you guys are interested in seeing what needs to be done to be modified, drop a comment and I will definitely go into deeper detail. But anyway, it's got the 3-wire TPS, 10 AN feed with, I believe, 6 AN return. And I got 1700 cc injectors. I got the Trilogy fuel rail, which they don't make anymore. eBay fuel pressure regulator. I use this on both cars. MSD coil, MSD box, super sequential blow-off valve, battery relocation kit. I got a 3-row 240. I think this is the SR20 conversion radiator with aftermarket fans, stock fan in the back, which I'm gonna remove. I got a 4-inch intercooler, so it's 4 inches from front to back. Let's see if I can, there we go. And then, you know, it just gets wild from there because it covers everything. And of course I still have room for my air conditioning, AC condenser, whatnot. The motor, this motor has been running for 6 going on 7 years, completely factory. And I built this engine in the worst way. This was, you know, a long time ago, almost 7 years ago. And I found the piston and rods in a bin of parts I had. And I grabbed those out of the bin and put new bearings on the bottom, and I didn't even change the piston rings, and it's been running this long. The head gasket is an Ajusa head gasket, AJ USA, and it's reused. This is the second application of this gasket. I had it on a previous motor that called it quits and everything, and it was still in, you know, fairly good condition. So I took it off that motor, put it on this motor, used some Indian head on the whole thing front to back, and slapped it in here, torqued it down with the ARPs. So this does have ARP head bolts, and you have to modify your valve cover to accommodate, which again I'm going to show you guys a little bit later. And yes, so that's my long block, long story short, and I'm shocked, as well as you guys are, that this damn thing's even still running. I expected it to quit, you know, in about 2 years or so, but here we go, going on year number 7. So anyway, this manifold, this was the first manifold that I've ever built, and I did it again in the worst way. It was good quality material, but the welder was a MIG welder with flux core, and it was basically laying down the bubble gum. It was, yeah, a lot of welding and grinding, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And for it to be welded that way, this manifold has never fallen apart, like completely quit, fell on its butt, and you know, you got to get a new one made. None of that. So yeah, that's a, you know, custom manifold that I made before this car was even running. And yeah, and then above we have a GT3582, or what is the numbers? It's what is it? I forget. But anyway, so it's pretty much the same equivalent as a GT35R. It has a Garrett ball, dual ball bearing center cartridge, and you know, this thing works wonders. I'm only using about 12 to 14 pounds of boost, so it's not really doing any damage to anything. But the fact that it's been so reliable, especially because I'm not running any water, and I never have since I got this turbo. I got this turbo used for $450, and yeah, it's still going. So I'm gonna let it do its thing, but when it does quit, I'm gonna upgrade, most likely to a 64, 66, but you know, we'll see. So anyway, back here you can see the old school Delta wastegate, which is aimed at the exhaust, so it doesn't actually have, you know, a pipe for the wastegate, which technically could catch your car on fire. But here it is, going on year number 7, and this car is daily driven, so it's not just sitting here rusting like this manifold. So anyway, after that we have the 4-inch intake. We got the oil filter relocation kit. So that orange plate goes to where the normal filter would be. Then it runs the filter all the way over here. So all I do is disconnect the intake and change oil. So, and then before I forget, the tri-bar situation. This is an older unit I got. I want to say, because I did have this on another Starion I had, which was white. And so I've had this bar for over 13 years. And it seems to be working pretty good. I do want to upgrade to my buddy's tri-bar setup, Torrent. Definitely want to upgrade to that, because this one is good, but not great. And the reason being is because inside of here is not threaded. So it'll it'll you know, actually work when the car's on the ground, but when you're jumping or coming down a curb and your suspension's flexing, this is going to open a gap and close a gap. Torrance doesn't do that, and I really want that. I'm gonna of course talk to him, see if he can hook his best friend of so many years up. But yeah, so you know, gonna be upgrading that, and yeah, let's take this thing for a drive. So the transmission fluid needs to be replaced because it hasn't been replaced in, Jesus, I want to say more than 5 years, which is horrible. So that's going to get replaced. Hell, maybe even the transmission, depending. You know, we'll see. The clutch. I was, you know, taking a trip to Mexico, and, you know, I was cruising around Mexico, and this Scat Pack Charger wanted some, so I gave him a piece, and you know, I went from third to fourth, and then the clutch slipped like bad. So that was a couple of months ago. So now the clutch is pretty much garbage. It does function while it's cold, but once it warms up, slip city. I walk in the boost, 0 to 3 pounds, it slips. So that's going to get addressed. Also, the clutch master is trash. If you ever taken one of those apart, it has a diaphragm in it, and it has 2 seals. One of the seals popped, and I could tell because in my brake fluid there was chunks of rubber in it after I flushed the fluid. So what I ended up doing was leaving it, and it's been like that for two years, maybe 3, something like that. And so yeah, so that needs to be changed, and we're definitely going to do that again. You know, moving into a house, we'll be able to do that, and you know, we'll take it from there. It needs your cleaning. You know, while we'll have the transmission down, we'll go ahead and replace the rear main seal since we're there already. You know, things like that. You know, and that's pretty much about it. So we're gonna take her for a drive, and let's see how she feels. And the poop list continues. You know, the engine is running great, everything's good there. But now we're jumping onto the rear end. So I got the differential mounts replaced brand new. So those are brand new back there, but that was replaced, you know, umpteenth amount of years ago. And basically, you know, the differential's excellent. It's a little leaky, so I think the breather valve for that is not good. So I need to figure out something about that. Also, the axles. Okay, when I got this car 10 years ago, the axle boot was busted, right? Never replaced it, never did anything to it. And you know, I left it. So recently, and not really recent, but about 3 years ago, they started clicking, right? And let's fast forward to currently, they're clicking even louder. So I need to source out some axles for this car. So, you know, if you have a pair of 88, 89 6-bolt axles, shoot me a comment. And then we need to exchange numerics so we can get that sale happening. But other than that, the car, it's you know, it's a daily driver. I mean, it runs. I tuned it myself. That's another thing. You know, I don't let anyone touch my car for tuning or building or anything like that. And, you know, it's just better. So anything that happens to the car will be my own fault and no one else's. So, you know, I just kind of keep it like that. But also, you know, the car drives extremely well. Anyone who's ever purchased suspension from me, you know, that's local, I always give them a test drive just to see what this car is about. And everyone, and I mean everyone, loves this car. You know, just the power delivery, the boost, you know, the whole nine. So it is currently raining, which means drift time. No, I'm kidding. I am kidding. We are going to take her easy and see how she feels. Alrighty. To drive, I would have to say it's a lot to handle. Wow. Yeah, that power delivery is ridiculous. Yeah, so focus the camera there. So if you're keeping track, the car is not driven like a baby at all, as you can hear and as you can tell. And because I mean I love the power. Like, I can't drive this car without walking into some boost, you know. And you know, if you got it, use it. But this car is an animal. I mean, a small animal, as much as you know, 12 to 14 pounds will get you, but it's quite a car. It's fun. I couldn't even imagine this car at like 500 to 700 horsepower. That's just ridiculous. But we're definitely gonna find out. But anyway, so waiting for this light to turn green. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of repairs that need to be done on this car anyway. You know, power steering fluid is leaking through the gearbox. You know, I put power steering fluid, which is ATF that I use, and it'll last maybe a week or two, which is still pretty good, actually. But after that, it's straight all over the floor. So the bottom of this car is pretty wet because of it. So I need to remedy that, and I definitely will. Alright, so we're gonna walk into some boost. I wanna see, you know, because it's raining, we're at sea level. I wanna see how she feels. That was, but whatever you guys see, I believe you. So yeah, this car is a handful, definitely, but I love it regardless. And we're gonna be adding a lot more power than this, especially when we start to enter the 30 PSI area. Oh yeah. We're switching to the corn juice, and it's just going to be ridiculous. Woo! Jesus, this car. You know, from the musical sounds coming through your TV or headphones, if you're using them, you'll understand this is It's a party wagon. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to conclude this car, and then we're gonna move on to the final one and take it from there. Okay, so it is about time. We are gonna vacuum this car up and get her started. Idle and right, run a little tune, couple of loose ends that need to be tied up, and we will be good, right and ready to make some power. So let me hook up the shop vac and we'll get started. And presto, just like that, it is looking like a car. So that's perfect. So now I'm going to lay down a quick tune just to get this thing fired up right, and we'll take it from there. And just like that, she is on and running. It's amazing what a little tune will do. Let's give it a rev. Pop that cap on there. We're gonna test to make sure the radiator and everything is working. So we got water in there for now. But I'm gonna move the car and flush the radiator out. So that'll be happening a little later. Check that fuel pressure. That's perfect. I have it set to about 20 psi on the fuel pressure. Nothing too crazy. I still need to take this car to go get gas anyway, so we're gonna leave that right there for right now. Alrighty. Probably could use a fresh set of spark plugs. I don't even think I took these spark plugs out. Just trying to get the car running. That is horrible on my part, but it's definitely alive. I want to see if these fans come on. Hopefully I don't set fire to the cabin before that happens, but we'll see. Everything is working good. Got the seats and everything in there. Let me. All right. I don't have the RPMs connected, but they are connected over here. So, excuse the glare. For some reason, that's hella glare. Let's see if we can take a look. See. Yeah, probably not gonna see it. Yeah, the glare is too vicious. Let me see. Nope, 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 nope. No. No. If you could look past the screen. $5,000, no problem. All right. 5 grand, no problem. 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 5 grand what I wanted. I don't have a boost gauge, I don't have a wideband, so all of this tuning to get her running to the point where she is now was all done by ear. Alrighty, so we got some things we need to address, which is the water leak over there, vacuum leak over there, downpipe, and clutch master and slave cylinder took a crap on this car, so those need to be replaced, and then we should be able to drive this thing. There's definitely going to be a lot more to come, and yeah, I'll see you guys next episode.